Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, chapter 12. This is exercise D of chapter 12, parsing English to Latin. Sententia prima. Many Roman soldiers will have already attacked the enemy's camp with daring. So, to find your subject, find your verb. Will have already attacked, will have attacked, and ask yourself, who will have already attacked? That will be our subject. And the answer is the many Roman soldiers will have already attacked. So the noun is soldiers, modified by two adjectives, many and Roman. So we'll start with many. Being an adjective, multus a in Latin, it will have the same gender numbering case as its noun, soldiers. So wait till you get there. The next word is the adjective Roman from Romanus aum, and then we get to the noun soldiers. This is our subject, so it will be nominative case, plural. Soldier is miles militis, masculine, and because it's nominative and plural and masculine, the adjectives many and Roman must be nominative, plural, and masculine. Will have already attacked, as we said as our verb phrase. It's modified by this adverb already, which is going to be jam in Latin. Will have attacked. This is going to be the third person plural, future perfect, active indicative of oppugno, oppugnare, oppugnavi, oppugnatus, to attack. So you would take that third principal part, chop off the I to get the perfect stem, and then add the future perfect endings to that stem. Ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erint. So oppugnaverint. Jam oppugnaverint. The multi milites Romani. And what did they attack? They did not attack the enemy. They attacked the camp of the enemy's camp. So enemy, the enemy. This is going to be the possessive, so plural of genitive, going to be hostis, hostis, masculine. We want the genitive plural of hostis, hostis, masculine. Now you're going to have to ask yourself, is this an I stem? Because it is a third declension noun. And the answer is yes, it is an I stem. It's a masculine noun, so it follows the masculine/feminine endings. Its nominative ends in is, could also be es, but here it is is, and it is perisyllabic with its genitive. So the nominative is hostis, 2 syllables, and its genitive is hostis, 2 syllables. That means its genitive plural will be hostium instead of just hostum. So we want hostium. Camp is going to be the direct object. That's what got attacked, the camp. We want the accusative case because the direct object is shown by the accusative case in Latin. And the word for camp is castra aurum, always neuter, always plural. And that camp was attacked with daring. With daring. So we have with, which is cum in Latin, and when it works with a noun, we have ablative of manner. So cum plus noun, ablative of manner, shows how, almost like an adverb, how the action happened. Not with what instrument. They didn't use the instrument, the thing of daring. This is how, daringly, they attacked the enemy's camp. So we want the cum plus the ablative of audacia, I, feminine, which is going to be cum audacia. Macron over the final A of audacia. So our subject are the many Roman soldiers. They will have done this verb to the direct object belonging to the genitive of possession with the ablative of manner, which is how they did the action. So altogether, your answer could be something like Hostium castra, multi milites Romani cum audacia iam oppugnaverint. Optime. Secunda. There was a beautiful city in the territory of the Greeks. There was existential sum, There was, there used to be. So we want the third person singular, because ask yourself, what was in the territory of the Greeks? What existed? And the answer is the city, this beautiful city, adjective beautiful modifying the noun city. So there was, third person singular, imperfect tense, active indicative. I guess you could also say the perfect tense of sum esse fui futurus. There was a beautiful city, beautiful being poker pokra pokrum, and it needs to modify city, which is orbs orbis feminine, and orbs is an I stem. It's a monosyllabic nominative, orbs, that has a stem ending in two consonants, R and B. There was a beautiful city. We want the nominative singular, which is going to be orbs. And because it's nominative singular feminine, we want the nominative singular feminine for poker pokra pokrum, which is pokra. So erat urbs pokra, there was a beautiful city. Erat urbs pokra, where was it? In plus the accusative would show motion towards into, but in plus the ablative shows location, and that's where the beautiful city was. It was located in plus the ablative, the territory of the Greeks. For territory, we're going to go ahead and use fines finium, masculine plural, the I stem finis finis, masculine. So we want finibus, in finibus. In the territory of the Gauls, the territory which belongs to the genitive plural Gauls. So the adjective Gallus aon means a Gallic thing or a Gallic person. And we want the genitive plural masculine form to give us the substantive of the Gauls, the Gallic men. So Gallorum, in finibus Gallorum. We could also say in Gallorum finibus. Erat urbs pokra in Gallorum finibus. Erat in finibus Gallorum urbs pokra. Tertia. The Grecian ships were sailing through the sea towards the islands. The Grecian ships, the ships which were Greek. So our verb is were sailing. What was sailing? The ships, the Grecian ships. Grecian being an adjective meaning Greek. So graikos aon to modify ships, which is nawis, feminine. We want the nominative plural, which is going to be nawes. Remember that nawis is an I stem. And then Greek, graikosaon, we want nominative plural feminine as well. So graikai nawes, or nawes graikai. They were sailing. The ships were sailing. Third person plural, imperfect, active indicative of navigo, navigare, navigavi, navigatus. So navigabant. Naves graikai, navigabant. Navigabant, naves graikai. They were sailing through the sea, per, P-E-R, plus the accusative motion towards the sea. The mare, maris, neuter, sea, big, blue, wobbly, wet thing. So per mare takes the accusative. So mare, because it's neuter, same form as the nominative. Per mare. Toward the islands, we're going toward, odd, preposition odd, plus the accusative, toward the islands. Island is insula, I, feminine. We want the accusative, plural, feminine. So ad insulas. Altogether, the naves graikai per mare ad insulas navigabant. Quarta, sententia quarta. The envoy often used to call our fellow citizens into the city. Did he now? So the envoy, the lieutenant, the ambassador, the legatus e masculine, he's going to be the subject of our sentence because he's the one that did the verb. He often used to call. So the envoy, legatus e masculine, we want the nominative legatus because it's the subject. Often, or oft, is going to be saipe. It's an adverb because it modifies the verb. It tells us when. When did he used to call? Often. It oft happened. So saipe, modifying the verb used to call. Here we have the imperfect tense. Used to happen. It was happening. Call is woko, wokare, wokawi, wokatus. Takes an accusative direct object, and that will be our fellow citizens. It's just going to be our, noster, nostra, nostrum, agreeing with kibwis, kibwis, common. You can also write masculine / feminine. So kiwes would be the accusative direct object, and then noster, nostra, nostrum must also be accusative plural masculine, so nostros. And we are calling our fellow citizens into, not in, they're not in the city right now. They're not located in the city. In plus the ablative shows location. They are going into, in plus the accusative, into the city. City being orbs, orbis, feminine. Remember, it's an I stem. Doesn't really matter here. We want in plus the accusative. The I stem only affects the genitive plural in masculine / feminine nouns. So in orbem, into the city. Altogether, the legatus, nostros kiwes, in orbem saipe convocabat. I'm sorry, not vocabat. The verb is vocabat. Quinta, sententia quinta. There was a bridge from Roman territory to the Gallic town. So there was a bridge. There existed this thing, existential sum. There was. Third person singular, because the bridge was. Ask yourself, what was from the Roman territory to the Gallic town? It was the bridge. So third person singular. It's imperfect. I guess you could also say perfect tense. Active indicative. So erat or fuit. Erat, a bridge, a pons pontis masculine. Remember, pons is an I stem. The genitive plural would be pontium. But here we want the nominative singular masculine because it's the subject of erat, there was, the existential sum. So erat pons, there was a bridge. And the bridge went from Roman territory to the Gallic town. We're moving away from the Roman territory and motion towards the Gallic town. So Roman territory will be ablative of separation. To the Gallic town will be accusative motion towards. Ab plus the ablative of Romanosaum to agree with the ablative of territory. We'll use, how about fines finium? I guess you could also use ager, agri, masculine. So fines finium, masculine plural would be a finibus. And then Roman would be ablative plural masculine to agree with it. So a finibus Romanis, or ab agro Romano, if you want to use ager for territory. To the Gallic town, we're going towards ad, accusative motion towards, gallosaum to agree with oppidum e neuter. If the accusative of oppidum is oppidum, and that's accusative singular neuter. Gallosaum must be accusative singular neuter, and that would be gallum. So ad oppidum gallum. Erat a finibus Romanis ad oppidum gallum pons. Optime. Sententia sexta. The Germans live in their territory across the river. So the Germans, the Germanus adjective meaning a German thing, something having to do with German or Germania. If we make it a noun, a substantive, Germanus e masculine, a German man, and Germana I feminine, a German woman. Here we're going to have nominative plural, and it's going to be masculine because Latin's a sexist language. So Germani, Germani, the nominative plural masculine subject of live, the Germani. They live, dwell, or inhabit. Habito, habitare, habitavi, habitatus. So third person plural, we want the present tense because present time, active indicative. Germani habitant. They habitant in plus the accusative would show motion towards, into, or onto. In plus the ablative shows location, in or on. So territory, we'll go ahead and use fines finium, masculine plural, territory. We are in plus the ablative in finibus. You could also use ager, agri, masculine, in agro. But it's probably best to use in finibus. Across the river. Across is trans, preposition taking the accusative case. And then river, flumen, fluminous, neuter. It is not an I stem. Its accusative is going to be flumen, same as its nominative. So Germani infinibus trans flumen habitant. Septima, sententia septima. Didn't you see the fires on the mountain? So didn't is a contraction of did not. Did you not see? Didn't you see? This is an interrogative, and we want the answer to be yes. I did see the fires on the mountain. Didn't you see that? Yes, I did. So not, just like in Latin, we're going to put not, which is known, and nonne. Nonne. Interrogative, where we expect a yes answer. Nonne. Didn't you see the fires on the mountain? So the verb is see. Who's doing the seeing? And it's you. Second person singular. Didn't you see? Didn't you look at the fires on the mountain? So we want the second person singular. Specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus. But what tense? Did you see? Did it? Snap of the fingers, past tense. So perfect. Perfect tense, not the imperfect. It's going to be a past tense, and it happened. It's already done, completed, perfect tense. Second person singular, perfect active indicative of specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus. So nonne spectavisti. Nonne spectavisti? Didn't you look at? Didn't you see? The fires. This is going to be ignis, ignis, masculine, mean fire, which is an I stem. It's nominative ignis, ends in is, could also be es, and it is perisyllabic with its genitive ignis. Both have 2 syllables. And fires here is going to be the accusative direct object of the verb see, spectavisti. So we want the accusative, which is ignes, ignes. Nonne spectavisti ignes? Didn't you see the fires? And then where were those fires? They were in plus the ablative of location on the Mons Montes mountain and singular mountain. In monte, in monte. Yes, remember that Mons Montes is an I stem. That means its genitive plural will be montium instead of montum. However, that means that its ablative will still be the letter E, monte, not the letter I, monti. The letter I in the ablative only shows up in the third declension neuter I stem, like animal and mare and exemplar. So altogether, nonne ignes in monte spectavisti. Octava, sententia octava. There are many large animals in the forest. Indeed there are. There are. Existential sum. It's a form of there are right now. So third person plural, present tense because it's present time, active indicative. So sunt. There are. Sunt. What are there? There are many large animals. many, multasaum. Large is magnosaum. Both must modify animals. That's going to be our subject, because the animals are in the forest. Animal, animalis, neuter. It is neuter I stem. It's declined like animal, animalis, animali, animal, animali, animalia, animalium, animalibus, animalia, animalibus. So many large animals. We want all of this to be nominative, plural, and neuter, because it has to be the subject of there are, sunt. Sunt multa animalia, IA, animalia, magna, all nominative, all plural, all neuter. Where are these many large animals? In plus the ablative of location, in the forest. Silva, I, feminine, forest. In silva, macron over the final A. Sunt in silva multa animalia magna. Optime, nona, sententia nona. The enemy will approach the cities of our allies soon. The enemy. The enemy. Looks singular in English, but in Latin it's going to be plural. The enemy. Definite article the enemy is a collective singular in English, and it's a plural in Latin. So we want the plural nominative subject of hostis, hostis masculine. Remember, that's an I stem. So hostes, the enemy. If it were an enemy, a singular enemy, it would be hostis. So the enemy will approach. So hostes, they will approach. Remember, approprinquo, approprinquare, approprinquavi, approprinquatus. Of course you remember. How could you forget? That verb can take a dative to show what you're approaching, or it can take an accusative motion towards with the preposition ad. One or the other. Can't do both. Now, because it's will, it's going to be future tense. Who will approach? The enemy, remember, which is plural. So they will approach. Third person plural, future active indicative. Approprinquabunt. Approprinquabunt. They will approach the cities. So the object of the verb approach, cities, you can either take ad plus the accusative motion towards of orbs, orbis feminine, so ad urbes, accusative plural motion towards, ad urbes, to go with approprinquabunt, or you can turn cities into the dative with no preposition, no ad, just the dative. So approprinquabunt urbibus, one or the other, ad urbes or urbibus. And it's the cities of our allies, the cities belonging to our allies, so genitive of possession. Noster, nostra, nostrum, and socius, e, masculine. Both genitive, both plural, and both masculine. Sociorum nostrorum. So ad urbes sociorum nostrorum, or urbibus sociorum nostrorum. And then soon is going to be adverb, because it tells us when, modifies the verb. When will this happen? Soon. Do not use mox. Or you could use mox, but you're probably better off using yam here. Mox works, but you can also use yam. So it will happen at that time then, in the future. Hostes, ad urbes, sociorum nostrorum, jam approprinquabunt. Or you could say, hostes urbibus nostrorum sociorum, jam approprinquabunt. And decima, sententia decima. My friend, carry this little dog to the farmhouse. My friend. So here we have a vocative, direct address. I'm calling you, my friend. I'm addressing you, my friend. Notice the comma in English to tell us that we are dealing with a vocative direct address instead of a nominative subject. So vocative, my friend. The vocative of meos is me, mi, me. Not mea, not meum, just meos. The vocative is me, mi. And then friend, amicus e masculine. The vocative is amicae. So mi amicae. Remember, the vocative is not put first in a sentence. It's usually post-positive. It's placed after the first word or phrase. So we'll save that for a little while later. Carry this little dog. Carry, this is a command. So we're not dealing with indicative mood here, but imperative mood. The imperative of porto, portare, portavi, portatus, to carry. And because we're addressing a singular friend, we want the singular imperative. All imperatives for now are second person. So second person singular, present, active, imperative. So porta, same as the present stem. Porta. Porta, comma, mi amiche, comma, carry this little dog to the farmhouse. So don't worry about the this. How about the little dog? Carry the little dog. The adjective little modifies the noun dog. So little is parvus modifies canis, canis, common. You can write masculine / feminine. So we want the accusative direct object, because it's the direct object of the verb carry. So parvum canem, or if it were a little girl puppy, it would be parvum canem. We're carrying the little dog, the parvum canem, to the farmhouse. Ad plus the accusative motion towards. Farmhouse is villa I feminine. So ad villam. Porta, mi amiche, parvum canem ad villam. Optime. Very well done. You have now completed exercise D of chapter 12, and you are ready to move on to the Lectio Latina of chapter 12. Volete omnes.